Hey, do you know recently there's a report that is very interesting? It shows that the resale transaction volumes have actually increased by more than 30%. So what does it actually mean for you and your property, especially the price of your property that you're holding right now? Yeah, so recently I saw this very interesting report that just came out. It says that condo resale volumes have surged by more than 30%, and it's 30% of increase in July. Well, now being August, and this report is out on the August on 27, let's look how true and how correctly represented is this report. Now remember to stay till the end because I will share 3 important points and takeaway from this video which will impact you and your property prices. So strangely enough, if you read this, right, the property data is pulled from SRX and 99.co, which is very strange because usually private property transaction data are pulled from URA, which is the official source for all this data. And the report goes to say that there is a increase of 32.2% up from 813 units from June. So I got really curious and I went to look at the data. All right. It also goes to say that this is actually an increase due to seasonal reasons from buyers and sellers returning to the market after the school holidays in June. So let's take a look at the month-to-month data and see how true is this. So I got curious and I put the month-to-month data, yeah? And you see the month-to-month data looks something like that. Now, so true enough, when you look at the June to July data, you do see that there's an increase and it's huge. Yes, it's about more than 30%, 32%. But then again, if I count back to last year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Last year in July, what's happening? It doesn't seem to go up as much. Never mind, maybe that's just a glitch. Let's look at another year. Let's look at another 1 year back. And strangely enough, June to July, there is a drop. So when they say it's seasonal, it goes to show that you need to really look at the data to really figure out how true when they say that it is seasonal. And the report also mentioned something that is very interesting. It could be due to the increased demand for private homes because there are a lot of HDB that is $1 million and more in transaction. So let's look at the HDB transactions. True enough, if you look at the $1 million HDB transactions, in 2021, they started to have that big spike. More than 250 of the units that's transacted were $1 million. In 2022, we have 369. 2023, we have 469. So the trend looks like that. It's about 100. And going up, there's another 100. Right? And then if you look at now, till 30th of July so far, we have already clocked $539 million flats. So if you do the math and the projection correctly, very likely you are looking at 800 unit at the end of the year. And that is the reason why, if you watch my other video, I have actually break down this and the reason why that the minister announced another round of cooling measures 1 day after the National Day Rally, which is a cooling measure of the HDB LTV now is reduced from 80% to 75% for HDB loans. So that is a triggering point that you need to notice. But then again, when we look back at the report which says that the transactions are affected because there are a lot of $1 million flats. But true enough, if you dig into the number of transactions for HDB, in the year 2023, altogether there were only about 26,000 plus, not touching 27,000 HDB flats, resale flats that were transacted. Now, if you take a look at the number of $1 million flats, about 469, and you look at the number of HDB flats that's transacted, the percentage is true enough very small, which is only about 1.8%. So would this really have a significant impact on the price of our resale? I think maybe not. But then again, the reason why that the minister decided to have that cooling measure is because there is this tendency for people to have this feeling, the feeling that sellers will have the ability to sell much more and buyers are afraid that if they don't commit to that high price, the next price that they're going to buy is going to be higher. So it is something that the government wants to actually nip in the bud. So all in all, if you look at the private property transactions have actually, for resale, have actually moderated. True enough, because of the COVID bump, we call this our COVID bump, but all the resale prices to go up. Then again, if you look carefully, the resale prices have actually moderated. And if you look overall for private property prices have indeed moderated, coming down from 10.7, 10.6% all the way down to 2.3% only for Q1, Q2 this year. And if we just stay at the current trajectory, we are going to end off somewhere in the 5% region this year, which is still tapering down. Now, what does it all mean? Now, of course, on the ground, we know that the buyers are actually waiting for one thing, which is for the interest rate to go down. Because since 2022 Q1, right, the interest rates have actually spiked up. I think all of you who are in the property market should really know. And they are still elevated, really elevated all the way until now. And what happens when it has staying elevated? It means that a lot of buyers are actually still staying at the sideline waiting for the interest rate to come down. And true enough, there are some indications that interest rate might come down. Okay, this report is on August 24, right? The Fed has actually indicated that time has come to cut interest rate. And when interest rate comes down, what will happen to the market? Buyers will come back into the market. Sellers, especially developers, would see that the price, the demand is getting higher, and that is when you will see the prices will start to adjust upward again. So if I were to look at this, okay, right now what we have is something that I share with all my clients. It's called a price gap opportunity. Resale prices have been going up steadily all the way, and this is actually the new launch prices. And if you look at the new launch prices, right, it has actually went up, but it has tapered down very significantly. So one of the things that I like to look at is what we call a price gap. Right now, new launch versus resale, there's definitely a price gap, and the price gap right now is about 24%. It actually went as high as 36%. So am I right to say that even if it went back to the high point of 36%, you have something what is called a 12% gap. And this 12% gap is something that we call a safe entry price gap. And that's why right now a lot of my clients are actually looking at possibility only if this actually fits them, that they are actually looking at the possibility of entering, okay, at a safe entry price. Now, another way to look at it is at 24%, the last time it's at 24% was actually 2020, 4 years ago. So it's as though that you actually take a time machine, travel back 4 years, and still get back the same opportunity 4 years ago. Now, wouldn't it be great that you actually have that opportunity to do that? Because we all know if you are in the property market, that prices of new launch and resale will only go one direction. So how safe is safe, you might ask? If we look at individual data, right? There are this cluster at the Lentor area called the Lentor cluster. And we take a look at the different developments and condos down there. We have Lentor Hills, Lentor Mansion, Lentoria. And why I choose these three is because all of these representation are 1 kilometer to St. Nick. So down there, the very popular school, St. Nicholas, is something that a lot of buyers have been looking and wanting to enter into the area because of that school. Now, bear in mind, earlier on, I have shared with you the resale and the new launch are looking at a gap nationwide of at least 24%. But if you look at this cluster, the gap is only 3%. And I'm comparing to what? I'm comparing to this another resale. So the resale and the new launch gap right now has close it and very similar to the new launch price at 3%. Now, if you look at 24%, wouldn't that mean that you have a safety gap of 21%? If you look at it that way. In other words, when your new launch is ready, and right now Panorama is a 7-year-old property, when your new launch is ready in 3 years, Panorama will be 10 years old, 11 years old. Okay, you're buying it at almost the same price in per square foot. Would that make you have a very safe entry gap price when you are also buying around the same price, around $2,000 per square foot? So you might think that I'm cherry picking, right? Let's look at another cluster, a very popular District 15 cluster. Okay, we all know that District 15, okay, in the past year, there was 3 very major launch, Grand Diamond, Continuum, and Tembusu Grand, all right, it's smack in the heart of District 15. And if you look at something that is just TOP, collect key, Amber Park has actually selling more, the sub-sale price actually more than all the new launch prices. And how much more? If I compare to Tembusu Grand, Okay, if I compare to Tembusu brand, it's actually selling at 15% higher. Now, this is something that is, I would say, is very rare. The new launch prices are actually lower than a resale. Now, if that's you, would you say that that is a safe entry price? I'm just going to sum it all here. Like I promised that I will have 3 points to share with you. And I just want to note that not all new launch is going to behave this way. And you really need to identify the correct unit and layout for you to be able to take advantage of this price gap. But here's something that I just want to sum up and let you have a clear picture. Okay, we know that resale transaction is actually at a historical low, and transaction is low, but prices are still at an all-time high. And that means there is a lack of supply of units in the market. Right. Number two, price gap of new launch versus resale is the smallest. Yeah, I've adjusted you since 2020. So it's as good as you're taking a time machine going back in time from now, 2024, all the way to 2020 in order to purchase the price tag of the last time, which means that you have a safe entry price. Okay, not all, but now number three, the resale prices are similar or even higher actually compared to new launch, as I've shown. Okay, resale can actually be higher compared to new launch. And that once again tells you that you are entering the new launch at a safe entry price. Now, I know that new launch is not for all, not suitable for everyone. And then again, if you really are looking at entering into today's market, there is an opportunity. And remember to hit the like button so that it will help me share this video with a lot more people. And if you have not, remember to subscribe and remember to comment if you want to learn more about how we help our friends elevate their asset. So if you'd like to learn more about how to make use of this opportunity to possibly elevate your asset, simply connect with me. My link is in the description or it's on the screen right now. This is me helping you take the next step with Singapore Profit Pro, and I'll see you in the next video.